Thank you for having me. Let's pray. Lord Jesus, we just thank you for your goodness. God, thank you for the sun, just reminders of your beautiful creation. Lord, I just pray a blessing over the city council as they plan, as they prepare. Lord, I pray that you just give them wisdom and discernment. God, keep their hearts pure for the things of the city, things of what's right for this city and this community. God, I just pray blessing upon Sumner. Would you just continue to bless this city so that we can be a blessing to the surrounding cities. Thank you for your faithfulness to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Potato?
Here.
Bowman?
Here.
Clarigat?
Here.
Cole?
Here.
Ulfers?
Here.
Kenna?
Here.
Winky?
Here.
All members are present.
Read the consent agenda.
Item number 1, Association of Washington Cities Conference voting delegates. Item 2, approval of the minutes from the May 19, 2025 regular council meeting, the June 2nd, 2025 special joint study session, and the June 9th, 2025 study session. Item 3, approval of the checks and electronic payments in the amount of $17,688,984.31. Item number 4, approval of council members Potato absence from the special study session of June 2nd, 2025. Item 5, Operations Facility Puget Sound Energy, PSE, easement. Item 6, approval of settlement agreement with Reed Trucking related to Town Center Utility Woonurf construction project. Item 7, Resolution number 1722, Pollution Prevention Assistance Program Agreement. Item 8, Amended Resolution 1695, Council Rules of Procedure. Item 9, Stormwater Comprehensive Plan Update Consultant Contract. Item 10, Public Works Trust Fund Loan, Applicant Certification for Biosolids Equipment Modernization Project. And item 11, Resolution number 1723, Vehicle Miles Traveled and Greenhouse Gas Reduction Plan 2025.
Thank you, Michelle. Deputy Mayor Bowman, would you please make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Councilmember Cole. All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, one quick clarification. Would you ask if anyone wants to remove an item before moving to the vote?
Is there anybody that would like to remove an item before we continue on? All right, seeing none. And now,
Mayor, would you please take the vote?
what's that?
Take the vote.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. All right. We have no public hearing, no regular business. Public comment. Michelle, would you please read the rules for public comment?
When the clerk calls your name, please step up to the podium, making sure the microphone is on, and you do have 3 minutes to speak. As a reminder, commenters are prohibited by state law from utilizing public comment to campaign for an appointed or an elected office, or use public comment to support, promote, or oppose any candidate for an appointed or elected office. This portion of the meeting is the council's opportunity to hear from the community and not to answer questions. And we do have one person in the audience who is here tonight, Randall Adams of Sumner, Washington.
All right. Mr. Adams?
Thank those of you who responded to me regarding the wording of Resolution 1695 last week, in particular Councilmember Bowman, for reading the language out loud so that the city attorney could see that it did not say what was intended and thus changed it. This highlights the need to ask specific questions for clarity versus accepting nothing to see here. You have all made your preferences clear that you don't want to hear from us regarding the Ryan House and would prefer en boca cerradas no entran moscas. Yet I think you miss the opportunity, an important point, as it is why we try to speak to protect this wonderful town of Sumner from your actions. I have loved Sumner since 1969 when God blessed my mother and 2 3/4 teenagers by placing us in Sumner versus going to Auburn where my co-valedictorian mother graduated from and my brothers and her brothers lived. My motivation continues to be to fight perceived dishonesty that has been prevalent by staff as a matter of practice and condoned by you by not stopping it over the last 2 years. A recent example is in the city's brief on the current lawsuit, you labeled Nancy Ryan Dressel as an alleged heir. This is not simple gamesmanship to discredit the validity of an heir, as the city tries to sell your side that she has no standing to bring a lawsuit. The city attorney knows for a fact that she is a direct heir, never questioned that in the previous lawsuits, and to allow that to be a part of the city's brief now is to hope that this dishonest misrepresentation would cause the scales of justice to tilt toward the city's hoped-for outcome. So are you okay with the city misrepresenting known truths to the judge in a court of law to try and win at any cost versus simply finding case law that supports your position and presenting that even aggressively as is expected in court? No, the city and you have instead gone the low road, winning at any cost if it means presenting what some may say is a known lie to a judge in a court of law. This is just the most recent example of the dishonest efforts by the city in your pursuit to demolishing the Ryan House. You have way too much on your plate for the council members to have to spend time to verify what is being told to you, if it's truthful or not. You are the only ones who are to blame and are held accountable for the actions of the city itself. Only you can change how the city acts. You are still acting illegally and not rescinding Resolution 1663, and I will read to you. Because the city failed to comply with SEPA before approving the demolition permit is rescinded for this reason too, and the matter is remanded to the city to follow proper SEPA process and the comprehensive plan amendment process before making any decisions regarding the Ryan House. 1663, by definition, was to demolish the Ryan House. That was a decision that you made prior to you being able to do so based on the court settlement that you signed off on. You need to just step up and get that rescinded.
Anybody else in the room would like to speak? Anybody online would like to make a comment? Nobody online. All right. We move on to new business. Main Street Crossings Design Consultant Contract Award. Councilmember Clerget, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve Main Street Crossings Design Consultant Contract Award.
All right, now I'm going to call Michael up.
Would you like a second, please?
Yes, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All right, Michael.
Mayor, who was that?
What's that?
Who made the second?
Councilmember Elfers.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Michael Kosa, the Public Works Director, and I'm here to discuss the Main Street Crossings project. And we are looking to, we provided a staff recommendation to authorize the mayor to execute the contract documents with Transpo Group for the design phase of this project. So I'll cover it a little bit about what that means, and then also what the proposed work is going to be, and that will be coming up. So, an overview of the project. This started with a planning effort. We completed a local road safety plan, which is really focused on data that we have from crashes and collisions over a period of time, and identified needs along the Main Street corridor for vehicles and pedestrians, and trying to separate the conflict points. This project was put on the Transportation Improvement Program a couple of years ago, and essentially the scope of the project is to upgrade crosswalks along Main Street. Upgrading crosswalks entails things like curb extensions, which is kind of the yellowish area on the picture here on the diagram, essentially bringing the pedestrians beyond the parking lane and closer so that they're easier for drivers to see them. ADA ramp improvements to make sure that our curb ramps are ADA compliant, possibly rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Those are the push button lights that you see and that flash when somebody is trying to cross the street. We do not expect any changes to intersection control, which means we're not looking to change stop signs or upgrade not to always stop intersections or anything like that as part of this project. Really, we're focused on kind of hard improvements for pedestrians specifically. Additionally, this project was awarded a TIB grant for $747,214 for the design and construction of the project. So the scope, as we moved through that process, we put out a statement of qualifications. We received 3 qualifications from 3 different firms, essentially. Received on March 5th. Transpo Group was the one selected as the design engineering consultant. We then went into negotiations for their fee and came up with a maximum amount payable of $189,500 negotiated for the design of the project. And so that's what's really before you today. That's the action we're going to ask you to take. So we have some milestones there, starting out with a survey and then completing a design over the next few months, looking at trying to get the actual construction of these improvements out for bid in spring of 2026. So just kind of highlight some of the intersections that are being looked at. There are 6 specific intersections identified in the scope, and that's the ones you see on Main Street that are kind of colored diamonds. The ones north and south are another project that we also are potentially that are being recommended for future consideration. But this is essentially phase 1, looking at these crossings across Main Street. So it's Main Street at Alder, at Ryan, at Bonnie, at Lewis, at Parker, and at 162nd. So the rest of this presentation is showing you pictures of those intersections to give you an idea of what we're looking at doing at each one of them. Here at Main and Alder, we're going to be evaluating curb extensions, looking at curb bulbs, and evaluating whether they're feasible. Leaving the stop control in the same configuration, which means when we have a stop sign, we don't put the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. It causes a conflict between 2 different traffic devices. So because this is an always stop controlled intersection, we would just leave it stop controlled. And then looking at the storm drain at the southwest corner of the intersection, there are a number of places, and you'll see better pictures coming up where storm drains are kind of in the curb ramp, in the crosswalk. Definitely not an ideal location. So especially if we're doing curb extensions, we'll be looking at relocating some of the storm infrastructure to avoid tripping hazards, those sorts of things. Next intersection is the next intersection down from Alder. We're just going to make our way to the east. So this is Main Street and Ryan. This is right in front of Craft 19. So we'll be looking at similar improvements, each one of these curb extensions where appropriate, looking at any of the existing curb ramps that might be not up to current standards and upgrading those. We are looking at whether or not rectangular rapid flashing beacons would be appropriate here. Next is the next intersection to the east, which is still Ryan Avenue. When Ryan Avenue comes in, it kind of does a jog. So this is the same. This is essentially just to the east of the previous intersection. Similar treatments. Looking at the curb extensions. You can see the storm drain really clearly in the upper right-hand corner there. That's like in the middle of everything. We'd really like to get that relocated so that it's not a pedestrian. It's not in the pedestrian path. While we're doing that, if we're looking at putting in a curb extension, we would be, clearly making changes to where we would have to change the drainage patterns in there. So it's kind of a necessary part of doing curb realignments. Next intersection we're looking at is Main Street and Bonnie. This is in front of Sumner High School. You probably remember we have some of those kind of rubber curbs that we installed a while ago. That was kind of a quick project to evaluate how beneficial that would be, and it was also funded by the Transportation Improvement Board back around 2021. It's my recollection. But we would be looking at basically taking those and turning them into more formal curb extensions with concrete and realignment of the gutter line. This one we were able to just put it in, and you end up with a gutter line that stays in the same location, but it would be nice to complete those improvements in a more permanent fashion. We'd also be looking at whether our FBs are appropriate at this location. Similar here at Lewis, another place where we have some of those temporary curb extensions, looking at formalizing that, and then looking at relocating some of the RRFBs that are out there. You can see there in the pictures, and to the best location for those to be after we make after the curb line shifts. 2 more intersections to go. This one is Main Street at Parker. Curb extensions here as well, evaluating which corners are appropriate for those. Also, whether RRFBs are appropriate in this location. We'll be looking at this whole corridor to determine kind of what the appropriate consistency is from intersection to intersection. And storm drainage as well here. And then finally, 60th and 162nd. Which is just east of kind of the new Sumner Mill development, east of Windmill Gardens. This is an intersection that there's a few pedestrian enhancements around here already. So looking at formalizing the intersection, looking at curb extensions, new sidewalk, and the potential for RFBs. There are very few, and looking at a potential for a crosswalk across Main Street as well. There are, in this section between 160th and Sumner Taps Highway, we don't have any other crosswalks, so this would be an opportunity for us to look at whether a crosswalk is appropriate for this location. So with that, that is the end of that presentation, and want to recommend that you execute the design contract. Get the mayor to do that. These pictures I just threw in there because I like them. If you haven't been kind of north of Main Street on Ryan, recently we've completed some ADA improvements, and that came to us out of the way of a complaint a few months ago saying, hey, the pavement here is really broken up. It's really not appropriate for wheelchairs. We were able to add that into one of our contracts, and I think it turned out really well. So one of those is an alleyway. The one on the top is right next to our parking lot that we own, and is part of the alleyway there. And then the other one is where Sources is. It's also an alley. Both of them are alley approaches, but really cleaned up the pavement in there. Really provides a much better walking surface. We're really happy to get that done before Rhubarb Days this weekend. And that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any comments for him from the people? No? All right. How about the council?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Michael. So the safety aspect of this. So are we thinking at all about, well, I'll just cut right to the chase. People run the stop sign up here at Alder and Main a number of times every day. I see it. People blow the stop sign down by Windmill, and that even has the light up stop. So what concerns me about the crosswalks, so the safety, how it kind of comes out and around, that's supposed to be for safety, is it? And so how does that make it safer?
You bet. Great question, and happy to talk a little bit about that. Get back to my diagram. So there are a number of reasons why people don't see pedestrians as they're trying to cross these roads, and a lot of times it is because they aren't really out there and visible to a car that's coming up. A couple reasons for that being that that sidewalk is further back. If you're kind of behind a parking lane, you're really not able to. People don't see you as you're standing on that street corner as easily as if you are further out. And so that's one reason for these. The other reason that we really get a lot of benefit is sometimes we have people that park very, very close to intersections, whether they're in or very, very close to crosswalks. It is state law that you cannot park within 20 feet of a crosswalk, but that is not always followed. And so this provides a physical impediment to a car that would be potentially parking too close to that intersection. Really, you don't have a choice but to not park there if there's a curb and a sidewalk there. So it's trying to prioritize pedestrians, give better visual cues to drivers that there might be somebody getting ready to cross the street. And those are the primary reasons for that you get benefited by these curb extensions.
So we're talking about putting the contract out there for somebody to come in and help look at this. Could we add an element of safety of what we can do with those stop signs so people see them and they stop? Is there anything, It's not explicit in the contract, but it's something we could definitely ask the consultant if they see any other safety benefits. We've had we've had times where we've looked at putting in like flashing stop signs. We've also had vandalism on those flashing stop signs, which has been unfortunate, and that causes us to question whether to put expensive equipment out there that someone's going to come in and steal. That was very unfortunate. So it's definitely a consideration of what we would like to. How we would like to service those areas. Well, I would at least ask that we explore that. I think one person getting hit and killed will cost far more than somebody vandalizing a stop sign. So I would like to think the safety of the people in town here, and I know that's important to you too. So I've racked my brain. I don't know what else we can do short of, spike strips coming up if somebody doesn't slow down. But it's just, the more traffic, it seems, the worse it's getting. It's just, I just am going to put that out there.
What we will do is we'll talk with the consultant and see. They're going to be preparing some sort of a report that describes how effective these locations would be and what treatments are appropriate. And we'll definitely ask them to consider whether flashing stop signs are appropriate at each one of these intersections.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Matthew.
All right. Just kind of riffing off of Deputy Mayor Bowman's comments there, I'm also, before I joined the council, and because I have a transportation background, I walk my dogs, I walk my kids around quite a bit, and just notice all the same things that I think we all do, that people are not obeying the speed limits, not really caring for crosswalks when they're turning down, even if it's in a school zone, wherever that might be. So I'm kind of, sitting here racking my brain thinking about it too. And just to, get it out there, I'm improving the crosswalks, I think, is a big part of that, and just making it more visible, kind of providing more choke points so people don't feel like they have the ability to speed through. Speed is on my mind in terms of, I don't want to say, the dirty word speed humps, but we got to find ways to get people to slow down, and that is one physical way to do it. And so I've thought about that. We have a couple of those down in Willow by the elementary school, and ELC down there. And so I would also advocate for just exploring other ways outside of the crosswalk improvements, which I'm a big fan of, and really think you've got those located a lot. But if I'm thinking down by the high school, and we've got football events, other sporting events, plays, things like that. And once you get past Valley and you're going west, there is no reason to stop until you get to Wood. And so if somebody does really want to speed up, they can without, other than traffic. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about the safety plan or analysis that was done in terms of speed. I just kind of went on a long rant there.
No,
but,
that's
yeah.
great. I think one of the more focused areas, I think, should be in front of the high school. We completed that temporary project a few years ago because of those concerns. And if you look at the street section there, it is extremely wide. It's a very, very wide street section, and the wider your streets, there's a natural tendency for people to go faster. So we have been looking at this for a while to try to figure out how best to narrow things down. This is one of those areas where we would look at the kind of the constriction of these curb extensions also provides some cues to drivers that they shouldn't be going as fast. So we're hoping that that's going to be that would be focusing more on the driver and just understanding that they need to be moving more slowly.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Thank you, Michael.
Yep.
Matt, did you? Greg?
I just have a quick question on the, so the rubber black with the yellow stripes, the curbs, I'll call them, but I don't know what you call them. I notice a lot of people just drive over them, and they also get high centered on them and stuff. So a lot of them are high. I live in Bonnie, so of course, Bonnie and Maine, I see it all the time. I've even seen them tear one out, I think, been replaced. But you're saying those are like temporary, so the new ones are going to be, what's going to be different with the new ones? Are they going to be not so big or not rubber? Are they going to be permanent?
They would be, so those were done with these asphalt, or they're actually rubber curbs. I think they're made from old tires or something. And then they were filled with asphalt to kind of create those islands. Our plan here is to look at removing those and essentially a similar alignment, having the curb actually come out kind of similar to these diagrams, and provide a concrete sidewalk, concrete area in there, and then the curb kind of narrows the roadway itself a little bit.
It'll still be elevated like a 6-inch
Yep.
type curb that you could drive over.
You'll still be able to drive over it. It will prevent, the one nice thing about those rubber curbs is that they do prevent people from parking in those locations, and it really helps with the visibility aspect. But it will be similar.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Andy?
Hey, thanks, Michael, for this. I am always curious about the funding, and this looks like it's funded by the TIB. So I was just thinking about, so the whole award is the design and construction. It looks like there's a deadline in August. Or is there other projects? I like the funding, and I was kind of looking at that. Is there any more projects we're applying for this year?
We are currently talking internally about what our best projects to apply for in the next TIB grant round is. So we are looking at more streets and sidewalks, primarily kind of similar projects. I don't know if it's the phase 2. We're going to evaluate our options, look at that tip, determine which projects would be the best candidates for getting funds, and apply for those through TIB.
One other question. I noticed the board is got 6 council members on it, and some of them somewhat close by. So I was just curious, when's the last time Sumner had somebody representing on the TIB board?
Actually, the former Public Works Director, Mike Dallum, was a member of the Public Works. I was a member of the Transportation Improvement Board for a few years before he retired.
So just recently?
Yep.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
You bet.
Go ahead, Carla. No? Anybody else? Okay. Are you sure, Carla?
Well, all right. So I'm going to talk about this curb right here.
Okay.
How it comes out. So about 2 months ago, I was coming up here to this meeting. Somebody blew that stop sign when I was turning out. So the good thing is I was in my SUV so I could jump the curb. The bad thing is I had to jump the curb. So I just really want us to take it into strong consideration when you're talking with them, and I know you will. But I'm going to go off of what Councilmember McKenna said. Somehow we have to get these people to see the signs and stop. And I just don't know how we're going to do that. I really don't. He didn't like using the word speed bumps. I don't mind them. I think it slows people down. But that was the one thing. And I had to jump up because a car was in the lane going that way. and otherwise I would have had to go, I would have hit him. So it's a tough nut you have to crack. So I'm real anxious to see what the consultants come back with. I'll be real curious about that. Thanks.
Anybody else? All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cole?
Yes.
Clairgett?
Yes.
Kenna?
Yes.
Potato?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Elfers?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Passed unanimously, 7-0.
All right. Okay. That takes care of our business. We move on to reports. Councilmember Clairgett.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee meeting this Wednesday will be at the East Pierce Fire and Rescue Headquarters in Bonnie Lake for this particular one. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Kenna.
Yeah, just a couple things tonight. Just reporting on a trip that we all took to Kenmore a couple of weeks ago to kind of explore the hangar and some of the planning they've done around their city hall, kind of some event venue space, and then some commercial space. I actually think I have a kind of unique perspective because I lived in Kenmore when I first moved over to the Seattle area, and this is back in 2010 or so. At that time, Kenmore was not a destination. It was pretty much if you lived there, you just commuted out of there to get somewhere else and come back at the end of the day, did your shopping or at the Safeway or something like that. But there wasn't a lot of activation of any real space, and I saw the exact opposite. I haven't been really back to Kenmore in probably a decade, so all of the development, which some people may be happy with, some people might not be, but it's all done very thoughtfully, very walkable. We all walked in a large group around a couple of blocks, felt very safe, speaking of speed and traffic and things like that. So I think they've done a great job. There's probably some, lessons we can take about how they've done that, things they wish they could have done a little bit differently or a little bit better, but, appreciated that we got the opportunity to go up there. Also, happy belated Father's Day to fathers in the area. I spent my weekend with my family and just had a great time. It's my favorite time of the year personally. So another congratulations to graduating seniors at our schools, at colleges nearby, wherever you're headed, if you're staying nearby, whatever that might be. I just really love seeing where people end up, if they come back, if they stay. I love hearing those stories from our community, and so congratulations to those that are hitting milestones in our community. And then lastly, a number of us also attended the White River Restoration Project. I think it was kind of a kickoff. I know they had already started some work before that, but one key takeaway, other than I think probably a couple other folks will mention this, massive project, really will benefit our community, our habitat, lots of good stuff to come from that, partnerships with the tribe and with other agencies in the area. But I couldn't believe that we've had staff working on that project for, I believe, over a decade. I think Robbie said 2014. And I hope I'm not selling him short on that, but unbelievable that somebody is seeing that through, not to completion just yet, but has been here that whole time and shepherded that project. It sounds like there's been a number of hurdles and challenges. People have come and gone, partners have come and gone on that work, and to see that get started is a really big deal for our community. So congrats to the staff and everybody that's moved the needle on that one. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Ranky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few things, a couple things that Councilman Ken also hit on. I, too, went to Kenmore on the bus. Haven't been on a bus in quite a few years, but it was fun. And that was interesting to actually see physically what the hangar looked like, the different, amenities they had there and stuff. It was a nice sunny day. The place was packed. There was all kinds of kids, teenagers, adults. They had a lot of stuff in the building, outside the building. A splash pad that isn't a splash pad, but they were using for a splash pad. But I thought it was pretty well thought out, and I think it gave us some good ideas for what to do down here at the Heritage Park and Hops Alley kind of stuff. So that was enjoyable. I also went to the White River Restoration Project. That is a massive huge 200-acre project that has been underway for several years. I did the walking tour with Robbie. They said it was going to take like 20 or 30 minutes. An hour and 10 minutes later, I got back. So, but it was pretty impressive to see that. And also on the far north end of that project, there's some warehouses going in that are 1 million square feet, 500,000 square feet. And also just down from that is the Stewart Road new bridge is going in. So there's a lot happening out in the north end, that whole area. Then just to remind people, coming up this weekend is the Rhubarb Days, Saturday and Sunday. It's always a good time, plenty going on downtown. Come down and enjoy that. I think the weather's going to be questionable, but still be fun and exciting down there. Next week I'll be going to the AWC conference with some other colleagues here, and I think the mayor and the city manager, June 24th to the 27th for the conference, and hoping to do some networking with some other cities, council, mayors, and whoever else is there, and just enjoy the conference, do some good classes. It'll be my first conference as a council member to go to, so I went last year to Wenatchee, but it was just a financial, just on finance stuff, but this will be a general AWC conference. And then just on a personal note, I welcomed my 10th granddaughter, or grandchild, a daughter, last Tuesday. So that's exciting. Other than that, that's it for me tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Botetto.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the sad news that we received over the weekend about the killing of the Assemblywoman and her husband in Minnesota, plus a state representative and his wife were severely injured because of decisions they made as elected officials. As a council, we're asked to make decisions for the best of the city. For myself, I listen to what staff present, ask questions, and also listen to what public comments we hear to help make the best decisions for our city. And, you know, it's not easy, but it's not, you know, we all have an opinion, but, you know, we have to do what's best for our city. So thank you.
Deputy Mayor Bowman.
Thank you. So ditto on Kenmore and White River Restoration. What I liked about the White River Restoration, yes, you stayed the hour and a half. Some of us had to turn around and go back because we had somewhere to go. But with that being said, it's always impressive when we go out there to see not only how long the city has been working on it, but as well as Pierce County and the executives that come and attend, and the tribal support of the tribes that come out there. It's definitely a working together project, and you can tell. So that was very impressive to me. Back in May on the 22nd, City Administrator Jason Wilson and I attended the Puget Sound Regional Council down at the Convention Center in Seattle. And it's funny because the topic was a regional safety action plan, improving road safety. So it's not just here that, you know, we're addressing these issues. It's really a statewide thing that everybody's working on. So I thank Michael Kosa and his team, you know, for taking this so serious and working on it. I attended the graduation at Showware Center for the 2025 Sumner grads. It's a great graduating class. The kids that I know, I just encourage them now to be safe. You know, they think they're out of high school. It's a new life. Just be safe now and enjoy the summer before they go off to what they're doing next. Rhubarb Days should be fun this weekend. Hey, we're in Washington State, so if we're not ready for a little bit of rain, there's something wrong with us. We need to move. So I think it'll be fun. Coming up June 25th to August 27th is the Wednesday night Sumner Night Market on Ryan from 5 to 8. So I would encourage people to go ahead and support those pop-ups. And some of the businesses here in town on Main Street are going to stay open until 8 o'clock on that night. I've started seeing that and hearing people talk about that. And then finally, I too will be, along with Councilmember Reinke and Mayor Hayden, Jason, the city administrator, Jason Wilson, and Councilmember Elfers were going to the AWC conference in Kennewick. So it's a full 4 days, and we're looking forward to that. So thanks.
Okay, Councilmember Elfers.
Well, everything's pretty much been said, but I'll just add a congratulations to graduates. That's a big deal. And then hopefully I'll see some folks at Rhubarb Days this weekend. And then also I went to the GM Growth Management Board. They went over and looked over Sumner's long-term planning document that we finished last year, and they recommended it to go through. So that's good. We've got a couple more steps, but those are all kind of bureaucratic steps so that we can get grant money eventually. Thank you.
Good one. Councilmember Cole.
Thank you. Last but not least, I have nothing except support Rhubarb Days. Thanks.
And I'm going to talk about Rhubarb Days. Imagine that. It is this weekend. Sumner Main Street Association has been working really hard to bring it to you. Music, shopping, fun, and lots of rhubarb pie. We'll be there with Touch a Truck. There'll be over 200 vendors this year, 17 food trucks, a kids zone, and more. So come on down, have a great time, invite your family, and don't forget to shop our stores as well. They always need the business, and Sumner Main Street has done a great job pulling this event together. So also remember that we'll be closing the streets on Friday night for the event. So with that being said, I will adjourn this meeting at 6.
Mayor, would you please, would you like Mr. Stephens to make his remarks?
The administrative report, Jeff Stephens.
Oh, well, yeah, I think maybe. Come on down, Jeff.
Thanks.
You were kind of down there behind that thing. I couldn't even see you.
Yeah, sure. Not going to take it personal, I'm sure. Some upcoming policy issues on June 23rd at our next study session. The city's lobbyist, Bill Clark, will be here to give a legislative wrap-up. The city will be discussing a donation from the Seattle Sounders Rave Foundation for improvements to Siebenthaler Park. And Communications Director Carmen Palmer will be presenting information on the Transportation Benefit District. Reminder, June 30th is the 5th Monday, so there will be no meeting. You can all have the evening off, thanks to me. Our next regular council meeting will be on July 7th. We will have a public hearing regarding the formation of a transportation benefit district. We will be discussing accepting the donation for Siebenthaler Park. And there will be ordinances adopting a travel policy for employees and amending our employee recognition program. Just a reminder, city offices will be closed this Thursday for Juneteenth and July 4th for Independence Day. And a reminder that we allow legal fireworks only on July 4th from noon until midnight. And I hope everyone has a happy and safe holiday.
Thank you. I'm glad we didn't miss that one.
Yeah.
All right. I think we are to the end, and we do have an executive session, and it is for 15 minutes for the purposes of discussing with legal counsel pending or threatened litigation per RCW 42.30.1101I. There will be no action to follow, and it is 6:44.
Mayor, will you please announce how long the executive session will be?
What's that?
How long will the executive session be?
I said 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. I said it right.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just didn't.